just FYI.
Okay. Peter Summer, Capital Intelligence Group. My question is, how much is economic empowerment in bridging the opportunity gap will have in this year's conference?
I think bridging the economic gap is really critically important. If you look at some of the 70 policy forums that we're going to be discussing today, or over the course of the next 5 days, you'll see that really it's flowing through lots of the themes that will be discussed, and there are definitely programs that are specifically about income inequality, is this dialogue about poverty and about the fact that African Americans make less money than white Americans, and the fact that even if we have higher education, we sometimes make less money than our white counterparts. And I think that a lot of the issues that face our community interspersed with them are income inequality. I think it's critically important to be addressed during this conference.
Mr. Chairman, would you like to add to that?
Poverty in America is pervasive. Poverty in the African American community is not only pervasive, but it should be an embarrassment to this country. When President Lyndon Johnson became president after the assassination of President Kennedy, he declared an unconditional war on poverty. And that's when Medicaid and Medicare were launched. That's when the Head Start program was launched. That's when all of the social safety net programs that our communities benefit from were launched. But the war on poverty somehow fell to the wayside. Once the Johnson days were over and once the Nixon era came in, the war on poverty subsided. And now we've seen poverty continue to grow. 1 out of 4 black families live in poverty. I don't want that to escape you. 1 out of 4 African American families live in poverty. 1 out of 3 of our children live in poverty. And see, we must all be on the same page, and we must be coordinated, and we must have a new unconditional war on poverty. Every presidential candidate that I've had the privilege of speaking with, I have addressed this issue with him or her, and I think the ones that I have talked to get it. And so I want to enlist all of you in this new war on poverty because it is essential. If not, we're going to lose a generation of young people in the process.
Yeah, in many ways, we've gone from a war on poverty to a war on working families, and I think that if we're going to reverse course and try to make sure that every American has an opportunity to robustly pursue the American dream, particularly the African American community, then we're going to need a legislative attitude adjustment among some folks in the Congress, and we're certainly going to work to highlight why it's important for all of the Congress to tackle this problem for all of the constituents that we are privileged to represent, and in our case, members of the African American community.
As you can see, this is a very important issue to the foundation and the Congressional Black Caucus. And during my entire tenure on the board of the foundation, the members, especially the 3 members behind us, have emphasized economic empowerment. So what we as a foundation, through the guidance and advice from the caucus members and its chairperson, we're going to bring the agenda of access to the American dream for all Americans. So that means young men and women, young girls and boys of color should have access to the American dream. And the embodiment of the American dream is economic opportunity, the right to pursue economic opportunity, the pursuit of happiness that so often in this nation is intertwined with economic opportunity. And so it is not by accident that we are in this building. It is not by accident that the Marriott Marquis Hotel is our headquarters hotel, because it was developed in partnership with an African American developer and built by African American contractors and professionals. And so at the forefront of any focus of equality has to be a connection with economic opportunity. And so we are going to continue at the foundation to bring more focus on access to economic opportunity. And what that will mean is, again, with the leadership and advice of the chairman and the members of Congress, especially our co-chairs, we are going to be examining access to capital, access to government contracting opportunities to make sure that economic opportunities around this nation are reflective of the diversity of our nation. And right now, with the extreme income and wealth disparity, we have a long way to go. My home city, or my current city of residence, New York City, the average net worth of a black woman is $5. The average net worth of an African American man is negative. Those are not sustainable, and we need to do something about it. And that's what this foundation is doing.